Lupin the Third is one of those animes that I knew for quite a while, but I just never got around to watching it. Until now. Yeah, it was always on my backlog for a while, and I figured that this is a good opportunity to actually watch the show. In fact, what I did discover is that the show is much older than I thought. I thought it was like about like the 80s or something like that, but no, it actually goes back to 1971. Now, there's plenty of different variations of Lupin the Third, but I figured I might also start with the very first one because, well, might as well start with the beginning. Now, the main character is Arsène Lupin III, who is a thief that is the grandson to the original Arsène Lupin. Now, in case you're wondering who Arsène Lupin is, he's actually a fictional character that has been through many stories. In fact, he's even been in a Sherlock Holmes story. So this anime is basically a take on that sort of subject. So yes, the character Lupin III is a thief that somehow knows how to defy logic somehow. But he does not only work alone, but he does have a friend named Daisuke Junkin, who is a really good marksman. In fact, he's actually my favorite character within the series. And then there's Fujiko Mine, who is the main love interest for Lupin, and she always tries and takes over the advantage as much as she can. And then there's one more character that joins in the party much later on, and his name is Goemon Ishikawa 13. He's a samurai kind of character, which seems kind of random within this kind of thing, but you know what? It's pretty amusing as it is. Now, there are plenty of antagonists in the story, but the one that does show up all the time is Inspector Zenigata, who always tries to arrest Lupin, but always fails in the end. Now, as for the main plot of the story, each episode has its own individual story, and none of them really actually connect to each other. Well, actually, no, that's not true. They do connect to each other, but it's not like, you know, to be continued kind of thing. But for the most part, most of the episodes are basically about the main gang doing their own thing, and then some asshole just happens to, like, ruin it all, and then, of course, Lupin happens to, like, you know, defy logic and just kick the other people's asses. It's very simple, but it works, and it's actually very entertaining. But we'll just look at the first episode for an example, where Lupin decides to go to a race, but the entire race is a trap set by the Scorpion Gang, and Fujiko happens to get kidnapped. So Lupin and Daisuke happen to do some crazy shit while the race is going on. So Lupin ends up investigating the Scorpion Gang's base, while Daisuke is taking the risk of taking his place, but he actually ends up using a different car that happens to look exactly like his car, which is why exactly what I mean by he pretty much defies logic. So while that's going on, Lupin decides to like troll everyone at the Scorpion Gang and rescues Fujiko. Now that sounds like a really simple plot, but that's basically what most of the episodes are about, but within different scenarios that go on. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because, well, for one, it's very entertaining. And it has a really good mix between comedy, drama, and action. Mostly a lot of action, actually. Now, as for the whole defying logic concept, no, I don't mean like he actually like does that, like that's like his special power or anything, but it's just, for one example that I'll mention is that there are some episodes where he'll be like flying around in like a plane or something, or like in like a different type of car and all that type of stuff, and these people are clearly poor considering that like their house looks like really shitty and whatnot, but where the fuck does he get all the planes from? Well, he is a thief after all, so I guess he steals them, but damn, he steals them like really fucking fast. But either way, it's one of those weird things you don't really question too much because it's all mindless fun, and you know, I really don't think something like this is meant to be taken too seriously. But still, it's a really good early anime. Now as for the animation, it actually looks pretty damn good for its time. Now, the action scenes are probably their best, and I think it shows that that's where they put the most work into, because everything else, like within like the regular scenes, it does look good, but it doesn't look as good. Now, as for the voice acting, this anime is only in Japanese, meaning they never had an English dub for it. And I'll be quite honest, it's pretty hard to tell if the Japanese voice acting is good or bad, because I don't speak that language, so therefore I don't even know what would like sound right or wrong. But it at least sounds alright, so I really can't really complain or anything like that, but yeah, I'm sorry if I can't really describe anything like that, because it's just really hard. Maybe one day, whenever I can speak Japanese, then I can make a good judgment. Now this is something I'm not going to mention in every single review, but I'll mention it if I really feel like it, and that is that the music within this anime is pretty good. It's very soothing, and it's actually really well composed, but the one issue I do have with the music is that most of the songs in the anime that have lyrics, it always seems like the one thing they keep on saying over and over again is Lupin the Third or whatever. Now it's not a bad thing at all, but it got kind of annoying after a while. It seems like that they ran out of ideas for lyrics, so they just decided to put that in most of the time. But like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a pretty small complaint, but I thought I might as well mention it. Now as for the overall score, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's a pretty damn good show, and very well entertaining, and has some very good characters as well. And I'm glad to say that I did start off with this one, because now I really want to see the other series within Lupin the Third. So overall, I would like to say, it's a really fun anime to watch.